All right, welcome back to the shop. So in this video, it's going to be a little different. It's not about military vehicles. It's not about heavy equipment components or trucks. But I've got this 2008 Mini Cooper. This was my daughter's car, my youngest daughter. And she had a little issue with it where they ran it out of oil a couple times. And so it's got a real bad rod knock. So this engine's done. This is an '08 automatic, no turbo, no supercharger. When I bought her the car, I thought that'd be a good idea because it'd just be less maintenance. Well, it's come back to bite me now because now I ended up buying the car off of her for $1,000, and I bought a used motor for it. I've got a motor here. It's got about 71,000 miles on it. It's low mileage. It's verified mileage, so it should be a really good motor. The problem is that non-supercharged, non-turbo motor is a little more rare, and stupid thing cost me over $3,000 for that motor. If it was a supercharged one, it would have been probably half of that. If it was a Volkswagen, it would have been $800. I would have had a really good motor for it. But it's kind of pricey, but I'm going to fix this up, and me and my wife are just going to leave it over at her mother's house. That way when we go to visit her, we can just fly out or take the train out, and we don't have to drive, 8 or 9 hours each way to get there. So it'll be kind of cool. I have a spare car. I always had plans to buy a Mini Cooper, and I want to make a rally racer out of it. I want to change the wheels, suspension, do all that stuff, kind of trick it out and make a little racer out of it. But this is the absolute wrong car for that. It's automatic and it's not supercharged. If it was stick shift and it was a supercharged or a turbo, I would have done that. I would have just made this a toy. But it's going to be a cool car. It's going to be a good, dependable car to have out there anyways. So I'm going to do a video on pulling this off. I've got to pull the front bumper off. I've got to pull this front brace out of here. Engine and trans come out together. So I'm going to pull it out today, and then I'm going to take the transmission down and get it rebuilt. That way it's all fresh. It's got 134,000 miles on it, so I don't want to take it all the way out there and then have the transmission take a crap on me. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to pull the wheels off, pull all the stuff off the front. Should just take a few hours. I don't know how much of it I'm going to video because it's a lot of work videoing when you're doing stuff like that and you're resetting the camera and you're moving stuff around. So I'm going to just highlight it, I think. There's a lot of videos on this thing on how to remove the front clip, how to get the radiator out, how to get the engine out. So I'm not going to do this as like an instructional video. It's just going to be more of a, I haven't had a video out in a couple of weeks, just some entertainment. You guys, just have a cup of coffee and sit on the couch and watch it. And we'll see how that goes. So anyways, yeah, hang on, let's get this done. All right, so I pulled the tires off, get those out of the way, or I pulled the wheels off, get those out of the way. I'm gonna have to pull the CVs to do this, so I gotta pull them anyways. So first thing I'm gonna do is to get the radiator out of the way and get this front end out of the way. It's kind of cool, it doesn't really have fenders. If you look at other videos, guys are pulling the fenders off to get the engine out, or they're pulling the front end off. And I'm like, crap, I gotta pull the fenders, but you don't. You just pull this plastic off the bumper. There's an aluminum bumper behind there. You pull the grill, the plastic thing, pull that off. So I just have some bolts and stuff. I gotta pull all these clips out. I got my little clip pulling tool thing. I'm gonna pull all these out, get the grill out. I'll leave back the AC, get that cleaned out, drain the coolant. I just had to pull these inner fenders out of the way because there's a couple bolts you gotta get to around these, kind of underneath the headlights over here. Gotta unhook some of these lights, and then I'll be able to get this plastic bumper thing off. So I'll get all that done and I'll get the camera back in here once that stuff's off. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's raining on me here. So I don't know, I've had a few friends from around the country call me and ask me about all the rain that they're talking about on the news that we have here in California. It hasn't been that bad. We've only got like 6 inches where I am. But one thing about living in California, the politics suck, the government sucks. Those communists in Sacramento. But you know what? Even on a rainy day, it's sunny and beautiful here in Southern California. So it's sitting here raining on me, and I got blue skies. So I guess that's why I live here. Anyways, back to the Mini Cooper. All right, so I've got the bumper off. I got the inner fenders off. I'm gonna pull these little plastic fender things off, whatever they're called. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get all this off. It was more work than it should have been. But you can see it opens up a lot. You can see here, this is why, look at my light. You look at here, you can see why the engine blew up. This main seal was leaking. I actually bought the parts, and I bought the puller or the installer tool for it, and I just never got to putting it on for her, and that's why the engine died. But anyways, I've got all that off. I just got to pull this bumper off now. It's just three nuts on here. I'll pull this bumper out of here. Then I can pull the AC condenser off and get that stuff swung out of the way, and then I can get the radiator out. All right, so we got this bumper out of there. We just had to unbolt these, and then there were these little tiny torque screws here, which were probably just to aid in assembly, I guess. I don't know. And then we pulled these two bolts out of the frame here, so we just slide that whole bumper unit out. And then I unhooked the condenser. So I want to try to leave all the lines together. I mean, if I need to, I've got the evac unit over there, the recovery, and I can just recover it. But it's really damp out here with this rain that we've had, and I really don't want to open the system up in this damp weather, because if this thing sits here for a week or something like that while I'm waiting for the tranny to get rebuilt, even though I plugged the lines up, they're going to have that moist air in there. And I've always had bad experience with that. If I do something like that, then I end up losing the compressor, you know, like shortly after putting it all back together, because you just get that moisture in the compressor and it makes things start rusting up in there, even if you seal it up. So I'm going to try to leave it sealed up, because it looks like I can. Here's the suction line here, and it just goes right there to a hose. And then the other hose that goes to the condenser core that comes off the high side, it's just going to the condenser. And then this other hose is going up here to the top. So I think that once I get the radiator's draining right now, I'm waiting for that. Once that drains, I get the core out of there. I can pull this front hard nose off, whatever this thing is that's holding the cores and everything. I get that out of the way, then I can swing this down and just let this hang down, and then undo the compressor and just let it hang down. And I think that's going to be out of my way. If it's not, then I'm just going to go ahead and evac it and seal everything up. But I'm hoping I could leave it intact, just to keep it, you know, from getting moisture in there. Unless it's just too much of a hassle. If it's too much work to do that, then I may just give up and just evac it and unhook all the lines, tape them up. But usually I get in a real hurry on this stuff. I've just kind of taken my time on this one. There's not a whole lot. I mean, once I get this radiator out of the way, get this front section out with the radiator bracket and everything, it's not a whole lot of work. It looks like I just had this rear, you know, I'm gonna have the bottom torque mount down here, the CVs, the exhaust, and then it looks like I go, yeah, and then it looks like I go up to the top and start undoing stuff up on the top. And it doesn't look like there's a ton on this one, so I'm just kind of taking my time, not going crazy on it like I usually do. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes. All right, a little progress report. It's getting dark out, so it's starting to get pretty cold. I started, you know, I'm still waiting for I was waiting for the radiator to drain, so I lowered the car down a little bit, started getting all these coolant lines and stuff off, took the bottle off. Started getting all the harness unhooked, get all this stuff out of the way, and pull these radiator hoses off next. Got to work on getting this cooler line off right here. That's a little trans cooler right down there, that little aluminum thing. Get this line off and get these lines off. Then I can go ahead and pull the radiator, pull the fan, get that stuff out, and I get this front clip off. It's coming along. I probably won't get it out tonight. It's just getting kind of cold out here and stuff. I probably have a few more hours on it, I think. I'm just kind of plugging away here. I'm not in a real rush. All right, so I've made some progress. Got that front clip off, got the radiator out. I've got the condenser just hanging there. My next step will be to probably unbolt the compressor and then get those just kind of hanging together. Kind of secure them a little bit, just keep the stress off of the pipes there going to the condenser. And I think I've got pretty much all the stuff on top, the water lines, the electrical and stuff, like most of it. There's a few other little things here. So I'm gonna have to raise it up, get the CV axles out. There's a couple things underneath I gotta undo, a torque mount and stuff like that. And then once I get that done, I can lower back down to about this level and pull these top motor mounts off. And I've got the crane here. I'll just use the crane to pick the motor out, and we'll pull the motor and trans out. But it's about 40 degrees and it's raining right now. It's cold. I am gonna go in. It's getting kind of late. I think it's about 7 o'clock, 6:40. But I'm gonna go in. I'll come back and tack this in the morning, and I'll get some more video tomorrow on this. All right, so I finished pulling that front clip off there, and then I decided I am just going to evac the AC system, just so I don't have to fight this thing. If I could get this stuff out of my way, it's just going to make it a lot easier. So I hooked up the recovery unit, and I'm going to go ahead and just recover the Freon out of here. And then I've got to seal these up real quick as soon as I unhook them, because I really don't want the moisture in there. I was looking for the dryer. I don't know where they put the dryer on this thing. I'm assuming it's probably back here inside the dash, and there ain't no way I'm going to get in there. So I'm just going to evac it, and then as soon as I pull it apart, I'm just going to cap the lines really good. I'm going to plug them up, and then I can get that compressor out of the way, get this evaporator core out, or condenser out of the way, and then I can go to town and get the rest of this thing out of here. All right, just working. Get it down to just about 0 now. So this thing's nice. At the price of Freon, this thing is really nice, because it's only probably £1.50 pound, but God, it's like 12 bucks, 15 bucks for the Freon. So anyways, it's pumping into that tank right now, and as soon as it's done, it will, let's see, drain oil, press stop to skip. I could actually stop that. There, recover complete. So now the Freon's out of there. Now I can just remove this crap, and it'll just make it a lot easier than trying to keep it all together. Okay, so I've got the condenser out of the way, or the condenser out of the way. I started on the exhaust. I got all this unbolted. Got a cool header in here. That's pretty cool. Then there's a clamp right down here underneath. I got the bolt out of that. I'm gonna have to spread it, I think, a little bit to get it off. And then it had a couple of bolts here that are going to the block. And it had this tin work over here too. It's aluminum. But they make it so you kind of can't get it off unless you pull the oxygen sensor. I didn't want to do that, so I had to pull the exhaust anyways, because the new engine didn't come with that. So it's not a big deal anyways. So I'll get that out of there in just a second. Had to put caps on here. This stupid R134A is the weirdest crap. It, like, when it sits there and warms up, or the atmosphere's at it, it bubbles out. And I kept blowing this plug out. So I just put these washers down on here. Kind of bolted those down with the studs to hold those plugs into place. All right, so I lifted it up so I can get the CV axles out. I've got to fight this passenger one. It's got one of those stupid jack shaft axles, so I'm gonna have to dig in there to unhook that. The driver's side one should come out real easy, but I figured while I have it in the air, I want to drain the oil just to see how much oil was left in this thing when she finally died. Let's see what we get. Come on. Okay, I'd say about 1 quart so far. A 1.5 quarts. It had some oil in it. Might have been on the stick. I gotta make fun of my daughter, I guess. There's a few times that light came on because it was very, very low in oil. I drained it once. It had about 1 quart, maybe half a quart in it, and that was it. So it's topped off now, but that don't help. Before we start. All right, so I finally got everything unhooked. I got the CVs out. CVs were a real pain in the butt. I couldn't get the CVs to pop out of the transfer case. The passenger side one's got that jack shaft and it's all one piece, and that was just going to be really hard to get to the bracket. And the driver's side one, I couldn't get it out of the trans, but I'm going to replace them anyways, so I just cut the bands and pulled the CV axles apart. We've got everything else out of here. Everything else is unhooked. We've got the crane on it now, and it looks like it's free. So we're going to go ahead and, in fact, here's what the crane setup looks like. Crane over there. It's a 6,000 pound IMT. So, and I've got to come along on one end so we could adjust if we have to, but it feels like it's floating there really good right now. So I think it's just going to slide right out. So I'm going to set this up on the tripod, and then we'll go ahead and get this thing out of here. Snag. We've got to unhook a wire, go to the alternator. Let me put you guys on pause. All right, welcome back. So we've got that power wire off the alternator. And it should come out of here. so that's it. Piece of cake, right? So anyways, now I'm going to pull this transmission off, and I'm going to take it down to Marietta Transmission and get my buddy Rick down there to rebuild that. That way it's just going to, I don't have to worry about the trans going out. Because I think you have to pull the engine to pull the trans on this. Because I had to pull the trans to pull the engine, so that kind of makes sense. So this will have a 70,000 mile engine in it. Nice fresh engine, sort of. And then I'll have a fresh rebuilt trans. And then I'll go through and change all the belts and whatever hoses and stuff I can do. Here's some really cool stuff here. So you've got the, I think this is the water pump right here. Yeah, this is the water pump. And so the water pump has, it's not a grooved pulley or anything. It doesn't get a belt on it. It's got a rubber on it. And then you've got this adjuster here, this like spring-loaded idler, I guess it is. It rides on the back of this belt that's on the crank. And that's how it turns the water pump. There's no direct belt, which is really cool because you don't have to worry about a belt failing to keep running the water pump. You do have to worry about this not seizing up, which I'm going to check that out. I may change that while I'm in here. I may change all these idler pulleys just to, I'll check them all out, make sure they don't have too much wear or something on them. But anyways, that's it. I guess that's it for this video. I'll probably do another video when I get the transmission back and I marry them together when I go to put it back in. I just wanted to come up with some video. I haven't had one come out in a few weeks, so I don't know how entertaining this will be for you guys. Probably won't learn a thing from it. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And anyways, thanks for watching, guys.